Who's actually going to get the most out of a high-end drone like the Autel Robotics EVO Pro? Is it worth the price tag for a weekend hobbyist who just wants a few Instagram clips, or does it belong in the toolkit of a professional who needs reliable 6K footage on the fly? And for the people sitting on the fence, what's the deal breaker that should make them walk away? Those are the questions I wrestled with before I even lifted the propellers. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When you first see a drone advertised with 40-minute flight times, 6K video, and omnidirectional obstacle avoidance, it feels like a tech fantasy. But the reality of buying one isn't just about headline specs. You have to think about how you'll actually set it up, where you'll take it, and whether the extra capabilities translate into tangible benefits for your projects. I spent a few days researching the Robotics EVO Pro, reading forums, watching long-form test videos, and comparing it side by side with the newer DJI models that dominate the market. The goal was to figure out if the bundle's premium price is justified for everyday creators or if it's a niche tool that only certain pros will truly appreciate. Let's start with the kind of person who should seriously consider this drone. If you're a real estate videographer who needs to capture sweeping, cinematic shots of properties, the 6K sensor gives you a lot of flexibility in post. You can pull a tight crop or stabilize a shot without losing detail, which is something many 4K drones struggle with. The same goes for travel vloggers who want to future-proof their footage. 6K means you can downsample to 4K or 1080p and still end up with crisp, professional-looking video. The extended 40-minute flight time is another game-changer for those longer shoots. Instead of juggling 3 or 4 batteries for an hour of airtime, you can get close to a full hour with just 2 swaps, which translates into smoother workflow on location. On the other side of the spectrum, if you're a casual hobbyist whose primary goal is to snap a few scenic shots on the weekend, you might find the Robotics EVO Pro a bit overkill. The learning curve is real. The drone's advanced GPS GLONASS BeiDou positioning and omnidirectional obstacle sensing give you a safety net, but they also come with a more complex setup process. You need to calibrate multiple sensors, manage firmware updates, and understand the flight modes to avoid false alarms in cluttered environments. For someone who just wants a point-and-shoot experience, a simpler 4K model from a different brand could be less intimidating and cheaper. Now, let's break down the practical strengths that actually matter once the box is open. The first thing you notice is the foldable design. Autel's engineers made the arms and prop guards collapse neatly, so the drone fits into a backpack without looking like a piece of industrial equipment. That portability isn't just a marketing gimmick, it's what lets you pull the Robotics EVO Pro out of a car trunk at a remote hiking trail and get airborne in under a minute. The quick-release battery compartment also speeds up swaps, which is essential when you're trying to maximize that 40-minute window. Camera quality is where the EVO truly shines. A 6K video at 30 frames per second, paired with a 20-megapixel still sensor, captures detail that's evident when you compare footage side by side with a 4K drone. The extra resolution gives you leeway for heavy post-production work like digital zooms for aerial surveys or cropping for social media framing without noticeable pixelation. Moreover, the camera's color science leans toward a neutral palette, so you spend less time correcting color casts in editing. If you're shooting landscapes, you'll see the subtle gradations in sky and foliage that many lower-resolution drones miss. The navigation system deserves its own paragraph. Autel uses a combination of GPS, GLONASS, and BeiDou, which means you get reliable lock even in places where one satellite constellation is weak. In practical terms, that translates to steadier hover when you're framing a shot over a lake or a densely built-up urban block. The omnidirectional obstacle avoidance is not just a don't hit the trees feature, it actively maps the space in real time, allowing you to execute complex flight paths like orbiting a monument while maintaining a safe distance from surrounding structures. That safety net is priceless for professionals who can't afford a crash on a paid shoot. Of course, there are trade-offs. The biggest is the price. The Robotics EVO Pro bundle sits comfortably in the high-end bracket, and while you get a premium camera and long flight time, you're also paying for the brand's rugged reputation and the bundled accessories. If you're on a tight budget, that cost might be hard to justify, especially when there are cheaper alternatives that still deliver solid 4K footage and decent flight endurance. Another practical concern is the drone's weight. At just under 2 kilograms, it's still portable, but you'll need to consider local regulations. Some countries treat anything over 250 g as a commercial aircraft, requiring registration and adherence to stricter rules.